Hey nerds, and welcome to Supergirl, Theories and Conspiracies. I'm your host Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. This week we had a very heavy John Jones, Hank Henshaw episode. We learned a lot about his past, and we learned about some of the things that are haunting him, specifically what happened on Mars, why he's on Earth, and the villain this week is really a villain of his. It's a White Martian, and these are a pretty brutal group of characters. I've talked about them in the past when I was talking about Martian Manhunter and the different Martians that are on Mars, but just a quick recap this week. But before that, first the episode was titled Stranger from Another World, and this was a reference to not only the White Martian, but also John himself, as we had the senator who was very anti-alien, so she was also referring to the stranger from another world. Kara is a stranger from another world, but also Kat's son represented a stranger from another world, and you saw in their interaction, you know, DC with their shows these past 2 weeks, Flash with Wally West and the stuff with Joe, and then this week with Adam and Kat, just really hitting home the family stuff. Now, in the comics, it should be pointed out that Adam, the older son, because Kat only has one son in the comics, but it's Adam. This is the son that is kidnapped by Toyman and then eventually murdered. So the possibilities and what's changing, and with him coming into play, it is possible that things between him and Supergirl and Toyman aren't done, and that he will be the one that's kidnapped, not her younger son. Hard to tell, but he is going to be around a while. Now, this is actually Melissa's husband, so that's why their chemistry is so good. Now, the White Martians. The White Martians and the Green Martians were originally one group. They were just one species, one race of Martians. They were called the Burning, and they were an asexual race that reproduced through some sort of ritual with fire. But they were very brutal and warlike, and the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of feared them and what they might do to the galaxy. So about 20,000 years ago, the Guardians split the Martians into the two groups, the White Martians and the Green Martians. And the Green Martians were the more philosophical and peaceful side of the Martian society, and the White Martians were very aggressive and warlike. Now, there was a civil war, but that ended with the White Martians being sent to something very much like the Phantom Zone, but it's called the Silent Place or something like that. But it also, you know, they eventually, of course, get out of there, but then they do get sent to the Phantom Zone. So the White Martians have been to the Phantom Zone, not at this point in what we're seeing for this, this universe, but it is interesting to note that they are familiar with the Phantom Zone. Now, White Martians basically have the exact same power set as Green Martians and what John has. So you have super strength, super speed, flight, shape-changing, phase-shifting, sometimes called variable density. But also they've got Martian vision, which is kind of their kind of telepathy and psychic ability. Now, it should be noted that the White Martians choose to look like this big kind of monster. The Green Martians don't. They take a more humanoid-looking form, but the White Martians have chosen this form because it feels more warlike, like they're almost, the shape they've chosen is more armor. So, some interesting things there. They don't have to take the form they do, but that's what they have chosen to, and it reflects their specific warlike tendencies. Now, the episode ends with a shot of Supergirl flying around downtown, but we know it's not Supergirl, and this is actually Bizarro. I've talked about Bizarro before. It was, I think, 2 weeks ago, but because Bizarro is actually the villain for next week in an episode titled Bizarro, I'm going to touch on Bizarro then, but if you really want to know more about Bizarro, check out the episode a few back. What do you guys think? Are you fans of the White Martian? Do you hope we see more? Who is your favorite Martian if you're familiar? There's really only one really popular one, and that's Miss Martian. And she essentially was a pacifist White Martian who wanted to become a Green Martian and be a hero on Earth. Do you hope we eventually see her? Do you hope they bring her into this show? She was very popular on Teen Titans. What do you guys think? And what do you think about John's, recovering from the trauma of his past? Tell me what you guys thought, and don't forget to check out the other theories I have this week. Agent Carter, of course, Flash, and then the Agent Carter after show on Wednesdays at 6:15 on the stream.tv. So until next week, this has been Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd, and this has been Supergirl Theories and Conspiracies.